this Crazy Cap or Fairy Fountain or nothing?
I have the crazy caps set up right now, but I was just gonna call it a direct
Discussion?
discussion,
Okay,
whatever.
sounds good. Alright, perfect. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Hylian Hero here, and we're here to discuss the February 2023 Nintendo Direct. As usual, I'm here with my friend Slime. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm starting a new job soon, but I'm
Nice.
under the weather right now, so
And
I
I am
might sound
falling into the weather, so.
I might sound a little rough, so a little
And it has
coarse.
been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done a podcast, so I might be a little rusty, but it's gonna be fine. We have a great Nintendo Direct to talk about.
One of the best, probably in multiple years.
And that's the weird thing because they really only announced one new game, and
Yeah,
everyone's raving about the Direct. It's fantastic.
yeah. No, I think honestly, even though I love this direct and there was just back to back bangers, um, like honestly, it seems like a lot of this stuff was supposed to be in the September direct, which is very strange to say, because it just I don't know how to explain it, but it just seems like there's stuff that was supposed to be in that direct. Like, there's no way in hell that we'll talk about it later, but there's no way in hell you just drop a first party AAA title same day. There's no way you do that. There has to have been.
No, there's not.
And
Especially it comes out, the physical version comes out 2 days before another one of their releases. It
yeah,
doesn't add up.
yeah. So I wonder if, like, I know they just said that they're ramping up Switch hardware, especially for Tears of the Kingdom, but what is going on? Like, I don't know if they just wanted just surprises for the beginning of the year and there really is nothing the rest of the year because they're going to be, they're hyping up the next console for next year because, and I guess that kind of makes sense too because I assume Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to come out last year. Um,
Yeah.
and also, it's about that time, 2015, 2016, between the Wii U and the Switch where they had nothing, or latter half of 2015, the majority of 2016 where there was just nothing in between the consoles. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you want to count Animal Crossing Party as
No, I'm
uh,
good.
but it seems like that this is like the final hurrah because they really pulled out all the stops with this one, and it makes me question what the hell is going on for the rest of the year. Again, this is just it's a great direct, but it's just it makes me ask a lot of questions. Is my point.
So my theory, going into the direct, I thought it was either going to be a overall 2023 blowout, kind of like how last February's was, or that they were going to pull their cards closer to their chest because they don't want to have anything really overshadow Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did a really good job sticking to the first half of the year, and I do think we are going to have. It's probably between now and late 2024 when I think the next gen system comes out. It's going to be mostly smaller IPs and remasters. I do think Tears of the Kingdom is quote unquote the last big like Switch exclusive experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we'll probably have a 2D Mario or something. We have not had a single Mario game announced for the year. That is
Yeah,
very unusual.
they didn't say anything about Mario other than Mario Kart,
Yeah.
and I guess NSO, but
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't really count.
it's I think they're gonna wait until Tears of the Kingdom comes out, let that simmer for a bit, then we'll get that June direct where we'll see the Splatoon DLC in full, we'll see the Wave 4 of Xenoblade better, and then we'll see one or two more games, maybe like a tease at the big release of 2024, which very well could be Prime 4.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect banger after banger like we've kind of gotten the past few years.
Yeah. Also, I saw a lot of people speculating, like some very odd speculations, like, "Oh yeah, we'll see Scarlet and Violet here, and they're gonna show the last time Pokemon was in a direct was other than spin-offs was Sun and Moon, and it was there to
No,
show off two Pokemon."
No, they had Sword and Shield in the September 2019 direct. It was the
Really?
it was like the picnic feature, whatever it was, not the sandwich making, but like
The
whatever
curry.
that. Yeah, the curry.
Oh, I was like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
Um,
it was like one of their segments, like a couple months before Sword and Shield came out.
yeah,
But that was the last time it's been in a direct.
yeah, again, like I said, there's nothing else to show. It's Scarlet and Violet. Next up is the new stuff, which would want to do by itself. And then the other
And
theories people were saying was no Tears of the Kingdom at all because they're gonna save it for a direct of its own. Which was there a Breath of the Wild direct? I don't even think so. So that
no,
didn't make any sense either. So anyway, we should probably hop into the. It's gonna be a
we'll
long
talk
one,
more.
so
Yeah, we'll talk more into it as we go along. But to my amazing surprise and relief, the first thing they started the direct with was
COVID
a full
19.
trailer. No, well, yes, but the first thing they showed off was a gameplay trailer and release date for Pikmin 4. The fact that they are dropping this game 2 months after Breath of the Wild actually hurts me
Tears of the
because
King.
oh my
Oh,
god, that is perfect.
um, was it July? I mean, it's not a bad time. It's just
You know?
how long is it gonna take you? You're gonna probably finish it the day it comes out, but
Oh, I will be ready for Pikmin by the time it comes out, but it's just I going into this year, given how vague the September Direct announcement was,
mhm.
I thought it was going to be September, October at the earliest, with
Yeah,
a potential delay into next year. So this July release date really surprised me.
yeah. No, Pikmin seems to be spring summer in my mind.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I will admit it seems like it's so soon, especially after how long of a wait we've gotten. Like, okay, think about this. Pikmin Pikmin 4 is probably the longest wait that we've had for a Switch because we knew about Pikmin 4 since 2015, right? Or we
Not not confirmed, but 2015, Miyamoto mentioned a new Pikmin game was almost done. When Hey Pikmin got announced, he came back on in like an IGN interview in 2017 and said it was progressing, and that was the last we heard of it until the September direct last year.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
it's
from
pretty
September
much.
Direct to now, it's just like wow. I mean, they really waited until it was ready. So
I mean, if you want to like officially mention like Pikmin on Switch, now it's going to be Metroid Prime 4 is the longest wait.
yeah, for sure. I think obviously the Prime remaster is meant to tie people over, but
Right.
I think we will see Prime 4 this year, but I don't think it'll be a Switch. It'll be a successor launch title at this point. I think there was a lot of problems with development. I mean, so much so that even Retro had to start over with it, and they had to obviously go back to their roots to discover what Prime really
Yeah.
was. It just sucks because I feel like Retro has so much shit going on surrounding Prime since day one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just sucks. But anyway, Pikmin. I don't know jack shit about this franchise, but
So
Doggo cute.
let me take control of this one. Okay, so
Graphics look great. I'll tell you that.
the camera is a lot
Buttholes.
like the camera is lower to the player's perspective more so than it was in past Pikmin games. We have new ice Pikmin that can freeze enemies and can seemingly change environmental like water turns to ice, stuff like that. The cute doggo that just warms my heart. He seems like he's going to be a cool gameplay element. I'm not sure how far they're going to take it, but he's on the box art, so I'm assuming he's going to be a mainstay throughout the story.
uh,
It look. Oh, go ahead.
I just wonder if he's more of a Poochie Plessy type companion where he's only for like specific stages or for specific days, maybe.
It's possible.
That's again like I don't know the structure of or game the structure of the game, so I assume it's days. Like maybe he
Yeah,
only shows up on specific days or something like that.
it's possible. It seems like he's necessary for certain stuff, and then So I would think you could just pull him out when you need him more so than him just coming out like when you every new day. So we'll see
Mhm.
what happens with that. Caves are back. They seem to be pulling a bit more towards Pikmin 2 than like the original one. Oh, all the Pikmin types are back. They kicked the rock Pikmin off the box art though, even though he's in the like the entire promotional art.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
One
funny. All
one
the
thing
other
I
Pikmin are in
did
there.
one thing I did notice is how absolutely terrifying this game is, and like how they're like that disco ball thing. That's scary, like especially from
Well,
that
that's
down low perspective, like versus like the up high. And then like from what I've heard about the nighttime stuff, like the previous game says you can't go out at night because it's too dangerous, and we're now
yep.
actually seeing why it's too dangerous, almost like
Yeah.
Blood Moon, which interesting.
So with that enemy with the disco ball is the disco ball was one of the material like the treasures you're gonna bring to the ship. That boss has been in basically every Pikmin game in the series.
Oh, okay.
But it's gonna be cool with the new perspective because it does look more terrifying.
Yeah.
And with the nighttime, it looks like you're collecting like star bits kind of thing. So I'm not
Hmm.
entirely sure if it's gonna be like a side mode or like a way to get like extra food or something like that. But they really didn't answer any questions. They just showed a very scary Bulbor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, Miyamoto just loves teasing us with Galaxy stuff, doesn't he?
I know it's weird.
It's like it started like with 3D World. Like I think there was an interview somewhere. Someone said we want to do more with Galaxy. It was like post 3D World
Ah,
interview. They're like they want to do more with Galaxy, and then they never did until
they they
3D
may
All
eventually.
Stars. I really
Yeah,
hope they do. I always thought that the next 3D Mario would be Odyssey, but with more Galaxy inspiration, like because Odyssey seemed a lot more scaled down, especially in terms of like scale. Because like Galaxy 2, you're going from solar system to solar system, So
right.
um
Yeah,
uh anyway, point
but
is that
the game.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I am no, you're good. I am so excited. This game looks fantastic. I am just very scared that I will not be completely done with Tears of the Kingdom when it comes out. Also, a fun aside, this game comes out 2 days before my Taylor Swift concert.
Rip.
Yeah.
That
So I'm like, oh shit.
you're gonna play it at your concert at the concert.
No, I would not risk it. My Switch would get broken by some fangirl that just like elbowed it or something.
Maybe
But yeah,
I was gonna say
I
maybe she'll
think
play with you, Taylor Swift.
oh god. Yeah, she's a secret Pikmin fan.
Yeah, it's like what is it? That wrestler that likes Pokemon.
I don't remember who it is, but yeah, honestly, that'd be a dream. But yeah, I think that's all there is to talk about with Pikmin, which breaks my heart, but
Hey,
it's gonna be out. It's gonna be out in 5 months.
at least we got gameplay, unlike some other game that's coming out soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Hmm.
Moving on, the next thing they showed was the next two waves of the Xenoblade 3 expansion
Oh
pass. They
my
showed
god.
an we'll get to that. We have some smaller stuff to talk about first. They showed off a new hero. I don't remember exactly what she does. I think she like crafts gems or something.
Yeah,
There's like a new
roguelike
not really a
mode.
boss. Yeah, roguelike mode where you just earn characters with each like defeat you get, which looks really cool.
Hmm.
Now we can talk about that way for goodness.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
So a lot of people are trying to theorize, what could this DLC possibly be? A lot of people are talking about spoilers for Xenoblade 3 if you haven't played it. We should probably throw that out. Maybe
Yes.
like N's backstory, or I don't know what your theory was originally. Um,
I mean, I was kind of like everyone. I kind of thought it'd be completely based on the statues. I didn't think we'd
yeah.
see Shulk come back. I didn't think we'd see Rex come back,
No, I was
especially
100%.
fighting.
I was 100% on board with Rex and Shulk being there. Like, there's no way they show the fake Monado and the the Aegis like that
Yeah.
without having them. And a lot of people were
Well,
theorizing too that the people on the statues were Shulk and Rex or some sort of
yeah.
descendant of them or something like that. So looks like we're getting both actually. We're gonna have Shulk and Rex and the statues because one of the guys looks like Faye from Xenogears apparently, and also
Oh, gotcha.
and he kind of also looks like Noah. So more
I
than
think
like,
he's Noah.
I think what's gonna happen is this Faye looking character is like the father of N um
Ooh.
before the cycle was created, like during the
Right.
conflict before, like
Yeah.
obviously
Makes sense.
I think we're hopefully gonna get answers about Zed, because Zed is probably one of the worst final bosses in any Xenoblade game because like we don't know who the
Yeah.
fuck this guy is. Like he's just fear, or
Yeah.
yeah, like basically the embodiment of fear. So it's just like who the fuck is this guy? So it sounds like what's his name?
Elvis.
Alvis is the villain of the DLC, which is, oh my god, that's fantastic.
I know.
And I assume Alvis kind of creates Zed in some capacity, and it's
Mhm.
basically just gonna tell us, how the fuck this all started. The first Ouroboros, which would include this Faye-like character who is the father of N, who eventually splits into two, being N and Noah. Um,
Yeah.
and then obviously having Shulk and Rex be there because it's almost like Shulk and Rex are kind of adventuring out together, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, like they do in their original games, while Nia and Melia are communicating with each other, trying to trying to stop this from happening, kind of being like the
Yeah.
brains of it all. Um, and I was always wondering like why specifically Nia and Melia? Why were they communicating? It seems like they were all in communication with each other, trying to stop this,
Mhm.
and maybe Alphys is the source of it. So I think it's gonna be pretty
Is
cool.
yeah. I just hope they do what they did with Torna and give me a physical version of this because I'm not going to make the same mistake I did with Torna and just skip it. I still am trying to get my hands on a physical copy of Torna,
Um,
but
they probably will.
I think
Maybe
they will.
maybe not physical, but it'll definitely be available digitally separately. Um,
No, I think it's going to be a whole digital, like digital and physical, because that's an easy physical game to put out in the market when they have like a lighter month or something.
what's even crazier is that, we saw that picture of Rex at the end of the game. Just we were like all calling him Giga Chad Rex, like 4 kids with 4 different girls, like,
Yep.
and then we see him in the trailer, and he's even older than that, and his
He's
voice is,
hot.
yeah, it's just like what is happening, like, and then I think Shulk looks a little bit older too, but
He
he
does.
but he wasn't like as young as Rex was. So it's like, how long has it been? Nia doesn't look a day over when she was in
Yeah.
Xenoblade 2. And what's even funnier is that she acts older, but you can tell
Mhm.
obviously she fucking hates it. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Melia is the one that told her to act that way or taught her how to act that way. It's
Probably.
just like, it's just it's so funny when they interact with her, and she like breaks
Mhm.
the regal character, and she's like, "Fuck." So it's great. I love it, but
I
I need
think
to
we'll
actually get
see
around to playing these games.
you do. And I think we're gonna see this DLC probably come out August or September. So we've got a little bit of a wait, but
Yeah,
from what I've seen so far, I'm excited. I'm definitely hopping back in. It looks fantastic. It looks like everything I'd wanted.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm super excited. They again, like I said, like, you know, they really pulled out all this. Like they didn't need to show us anything about the full story DLC, but
I didn't think they were going to yet.
I mean, like they would maybe tease it or say, "Hey, it's coming" or something like that. But they literally showed some of the cutscenes and then straight up pulled the rug from under us and just straight up showed Rex and Shulk. It's like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Like they didn't even tease. They just jumped right in.
They teased Alvis, like some people may not know unless you have a keen eye, see his chest, whatever, but
Yeah.
they're just like, here, have it. Squeal.
Yeah. But moving on from that, let's get into our first little bit of headlines, the third party stuff. Um I have no correlation or love for this series, but I know a lot of people do. We have a new Samba de Amigo game, Party Central.
It's cool to have it back. Never. The only reason why I've heard of this franchise is because of Andre, but so I don't know anything about it.
It looks like a fun party game. It's not something I'm going to be into personally, but I'm happy it's back for the people that enjoy it.
I think maybe it was on the Wii, but it sounds like it's a
Yeah, it was
great
on the Wii.
sounds like a
It's been
great
a
fit
while
for the
since
Joy-Con. So
exactly. Um, I thought this was going to be a new Style Savvy, but it turned out to be a game called Fashion Dreamer.
uh yeah, I have
Um,
no idea, but I think is it made by
it's
Level 5? Just another Level
I
5
don't
game.
I don't think it's a level 5 game, but it might be.
Um
I thought it was like Xseed or something. I don't remember.
oh
Let
no,
me
I think it's
click.
Marvelous.
Oh, it is Marvelous. Okay, good to know. Okay.
It
But
it
it's
kind
a
of looks
fashion
like
game.
the Nikki series a
Mhm.
little bit. I don't know if you know what that is, but I see ads
I
for it all
don't
the time.
personally.
It's like I think it was like a mobile game thing, and then it went to
Gotcha.
consoles. I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's like a super anime style that's about fashion.
Well, if you have any excitement for dressing up people and making them look fantastic, this is the game for you.
That's
Not the
this is the
game for
game
me.
that they're adding the Zelda DLC to. Remember we were talking about this.
Yes. Um, Something more exciting is the Return to Castlevania DLC they're bringing to Dead Cells.
Lots of questions
I
here. One, they acted like this was already announced. I've never heard of this.
It was
Two,
announced at the Game Awards.
oh, okay. Um, two, return. Why? Who's returning? Us? Is the Dead Cells? Did they do a crossover
I
before? I don't know.
No, I think it's like the fan base returning to Castle. I don't know. It's a weird name, but
Anyway, looks
yeah.
cool. I don't think I've even seen the original Dead Cells. It just looks really cool to me. Like see him like jumping around and especially going through the classic levels. It's pretty cool.
My fiance is really big on roguelikes, so he played a ton of Dead Cells last year, so I got to watch a lot of that. Not my kind of game, but I think he's excited for this new DLC. I don't know if he's gonna hop back into it, but he seemed excited. I don't remember this next game at all, but Tron Identity.
I I've seen the sequel. That's about it.
I don't know anything about Tron to begin with, and I think I kind of zoned out on my phone when this game was shown, so I really don't have anything to say, unfortunately.
I feel like Tron is one of those series that like the first movie is like a cult classic. Like only certain fans will enjoy it. Like it has that
Mm,
rough 80s CGI and stuff in it. The second movie is like it looks great, but it's not really that remembered. And a lot of people mostly remember it from Kingdom Hearts. Um,
yeah.
but it just seems like that type like Avatar, where it's like the world and the characters seem really interesting, but they're not doing enough with it, and they want to do
Mm,
more with it, and so they try anything they can, like poking a stick at a dead series. So, um, yeah, I just feel like it's too little, too late for Tron, but yeah, I
mm.
don't really care too much about this game.
Ah, well. A game I didn't have any info or knowledge about before this direct, but apparently it was on the DS, was Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, so that's getting like a port or like a remaster to Switch, and I saw a lot of people excited for it. Not my type of game, but
Yeah.
it looked good enough. Um, the first of many level 5 games, Deca Police. I like the look of this game, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's something I have any interest in playing personally.
Uh, yeah, no, this just seems like a game I would maybe watch if, one of the YouTubers that I watch, it seemed like a type of game that he would play, but I'm
Hmm.
not super interested in this. It just seems like trying to take a spin on Persona 5 in particular.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe a little bit too. Like, my fiance kind of called it like a mishmash of Danganronpa and Persona, and I
Yeah,
kind of see it.
yeah, for sure. I like the art
Um,
style for sure though.
yeah, it looks good. I hope anyone who plays it enjoys it, but yeah, I'll probably forget about it. Another game I'm gonna forget about, unfortunately, is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost
Mm,
Demon. This game, while it's very pretty, I I will not do the gameplay. This is one game I am hard skipping, unfortunately.
yeah, no, I'm not even interested in Bayonetta, so it looks pretty
I
cool. I love the art style again, but
yeah, it's beautiful, but I mean, I played a bit of Bayonetta 1. I still want to get to 2 and 3, but I'm not there yet, and this game is not selling me to hop into the series quicker.
yeah.
Um, this one got a little people riled up a little bit for better or for worse. So we got the official announcement that Splatoon 3 is going to have an expansion pass, and the first wave brings you back to, I believe it's Inkopolis Square. It's either Square or Plaza. It's one and two's names are really
It's
close.
just Inkopolis, but
Okay.
it's the area from the first game.
I was so
However,
excited for this.
I was like, wow, they are really but it seems like it's only cosmetic, from
It
what they
is.
said. The shops are the same.
Yeah.
Everything is the same except for the shopkeepers, and the Squid Sisters will perform during Splatfest. I don't really understand the point other than the cosmetic. I thought
I
at
think
first they were gonna remaster the original Wii U stages since they're not on Switch at this point.
they're bringing them slowly.
But no, stages as in like the single player
Oh, the
mode.
single player. Okay, I got you.
Because I was like, oh, so this is the DLC, and then I was like,
Right.
wait, no, and then yeah, and I'm just I think it's cool, but I'm more confused than anything.
And I
So
think that's the general consensus. Like, I'm super excited. Once this comes out, I am never going back to Splatsville. I am staying
yeah,
in Inkopolis.
Splatsville is a fucking maze. It took me forever just to find Salmon Run, even though it's right next to the multiplayer or
I
the
am,
lobby.
yeah. I don't have any connection to this world. Like, it's a fun design map, but I cannot wait to hang out with the Squid Sisters again. Callie and Marie are still my favorite trio, like duo of pop stars. They're fantastic.
Yeah. It just makes me
But
wonder, like, are they gonna do the news too and all that? Like,
oh, ooh, I hope you don't have to go to the railway every time you turn on the game.
probably not. I hope they don't
Oh,
do
that would
that.
kill it. That would kill
Like,
it.
what's the point at that point? Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like this is just they wanted a reason to sell the DLC for 25 bucks. And they knew they didn't really have much precedence for it because Octo expansion was 20 bucks. So they probably were like, "Hey, let's throw in this really cool um homage to the first game so we can get that 5 extra bucks."
It's also weird because the Squid Sisters are younger. It's like you time travel too. Huh.
Yeah, don't question that too much.
But anyway, Wave
um
2, the more interesting thing.
So what we saw was an Octoling in a very clean version of Splatoon 2's hub world.
Yeah.
And my prediction is this is the campaign we would have gotten if Team Order won the last Splatfest in Splatoon 2.
Ooh.
Because I mean, it's called Side Order. It's very white. It's very clean, very polished. SpongeBob would call it chrome. And that's
So
kind of what I thought would have happened if Pearl's team would have won and Team Order would have won.
yeah. So here's my theory. So the Octoling that we see there, there's no way they just create a new character. I know they already did that for the main game, which I find stupid. Oh, it's the new Agent 3. Ooh. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's Marina.
It looks similar. I don't think it is. I
Now
would love it to be Marina.
here's the reason why. In all of the promotional images, or in the Splatoon 3 direct, the tease for the expansion was a silhouette of Pearl and Marina.
That's
And
true.
if you collected all the, they're not sunken
Scrolls.
scrolls. Are they scrolls in the third game?
I want to say there's still scrolls. I could be wrong though.
I can't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. They
Yeah,
show some weird version of Pearl and Marina, and they talk about
that's right. They did.
they show their origins. They talk about their origin as well. I think, and a lot of other people think as well, that this is the origin story of Marina.
That would be cool. I would be all for that.
So that's just my
It makes sense. Well, like we'll see more in the coming months. I want to. It looks very similar to Marina, but I'm not convinced it is Marina quite yet. But I am open to be proven wrong.
I would just hope that it's either Marina or just Agent 8 again, because
Yeah,
I don't need what 6 agents now. What are we at?
something like
We got
that.
Agent. We got 1 and 2, which is Callie and Marie.
Mm.
3, who turned into Captain 3, and then people thought that 4 and 5 were Pearl and Marina, but it's recently been proven false. Then we have
Yeah.
and then I think no, Agent 4. Yeah, no, Agent 4 is from Splatoon 2. So 5 and 6, but that's not true. And then Agent 8. So I just hope it's Marina, since you can't have a new Agent 8. It's stupid.
Oh, never say never, didn't it? The Squid Research Lab. They're funky ones. Uh, Disney Illusion Island. This game looks like a Disney-fied, so an easier version of like it's kind of like Cuphead, but it's obviously not like a run and gun. It's more of like a platformer. But it's got
It's
that
like a
old
Rain Man.
school. Yeah, I would say that's closer.
I think it looks very cool. I think I might actually check this one out. Um, it's yeah, it looks. I think it's like kind of like the 2D Mario game I want, with the
Yeah, I agree.
2D animation style. So I think it's pretty cool.
See, I want to play this game. It looks fantastic, but it has one big problem. It comes out a week after Pikmin 4.
Why does it matter? You can play it a year later.
I who knows if I'll remember it a year later.
Maybe you will,
Uh,
because people will say it's the best the Switch has to offer.
if that game is the best the Switch has to offer, I don't care. I am gonna be like, oh, sorry, Pikmin, I've got to drop you for a few hours. But yeah, that comes out end of July. That was announced at one of like Disney's events last year, so we knew it was coming,
It's
which is cool.
definitely a surprise here. So
Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna get a date for it yet. Um, so given the game just came out less than 3 weeks ago, they're already talking more about Fire Emblem Engage's expansion pass, basically the roadmap. So DLC 2 had 3 more heroes. I don't remember exactly who they are besides like Camilla or whatever her name is, the big
a
titty
lot of deep,
waifu girl from Fates,
deep cuts, like
which is cool.
Veronica. I don't know any of these characters. Veronica, obviously Crom and Robin,
Yeah.
um,
There's one from
Hector.
yeah, there's Hector. There's one from the mobile game, which is really cool.
Oh yeah,
So like, yeah, I thought that was a cool little homage and cool to bring in.
I.
Uh,
A lot of people are like questioning the art style, and I kind of agree, and you can tell because the old characters look weird, especially in this
yeah.
new like soft cell shaded art style. And I don't think
Mhm.
I don't think it's a bad art style. It's just like it's just weird. It's just like
That's
yeah,
valid.
you're leaning into the waifu side of things. Like literally
Well, a
every
wee
s-
bit.
uh literally every single one of the female characters are big breasted and have like chest plates that show the entire top of their breasts.
And service.
Yeah, but that's all. Well, that's the
Yeah, I
entire
know.
on both sides of the sword. It is all
I
fan
know.
service.
Yes.
Like I don't know what the
But
point of this game is.
yeah, and they did show off the story expansion a little bit. I don't remember what the title is off the top of my head.
Xenologue.
Yeah. My fiance had just beaten Engage a couple days before the direct, and he got very excited about what he saw, but he wouldn't tell me anything because I didn't want spoilers.
Hmm.
So take that what you will. Apparently, if you get hooked into the game, you'll probably want to pick up the DLC.
It's just like
Um,
the two people that played Engage. It's just like, oh, I know that one line that this character said. I can't believe it's like us with Xenoblade though. Just like, oh
well,
my god, it's Alvis. What the fuck is Alvis? Like,
my problem was I really want to play Fire Emblem. I'm gonna have to start soon if I'm going to because Metroid Prime and Kirby are in 2 weeks.
it's one of the
I'll
reasons
have
why I
nothing.
can't get
Yeah,
into it is another one of the reasons why I haven't started Origami King. That battle system, I'm not too into the tactics.
that's
I'm
fair. I like the battle system, less so in Paper Mario Origami King, but that's a whole other discussion. But I've always been a big fan of Fire Emblem since at least since Awakening on the 3DS.
hmm.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I forget. I don't even know what Harmony: The Fall of Reverie is. I completely forgot what that
uh
is. I'm going through the
some
direct right
weird
now and like,
indie game.
ooh, nice. I love those.
Some weird
Oh, I remember this one.
I hate to use the term. I'm not gonna use it because that sounds. It's like
It's it's like a graphic novel.
yeah,
Is the
sure.
it's from Don't Nod, so that makes sense.
I group all these indie games together. It's like they all have a unique art style, usually story based, and the main character is usually like some sort of minority. I don't know why. There's a lot of games like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Moving on from this though, Octopath Traveler comes out the same day as Kirby here in a couple weeks, and
Didn't
there
they
is
do
now a
this
free
last time?
demo.
They released Triangle Strategy the same day as some other game, right?
Triangle Strategy came out in March of last year. Yeah, I don't think it was same day. It might have been, but to my knowledge, it was
There
not.
was I know that they I feel like they did this before.
Last I can remember is Octopath 1 with Captain Toad.
That's probably what I don't know. I just feel
Yeah,
like
that
they
was,
did that before. Either way,
yeah,
people predicted that they was gonna get a demo. It's what it got.
yeah,
Knowing Square with
yeah.
these weird
So
experimental games.
this is my big like third party surprise of the direct. We're getting a remaster of We Love Katamari.
Yeah,
I am so excited about this. I loved Reroll back in 2018.
this is a reroll.
And well, it's Reroll of We Love Katamari though, not
I don't
Katamari
know the
Damacy.
difference. They
They're
all sound
different
the
titles.
same.
I know they do. But I'm really excited for this one, and it's early June, so I have some time to play Zelda before this, and this is going to
Hmm.
be a much more casual experience. I think I played like less than 10 hours in the first Katamari, so it's not something that's really gonna take up too much of your time, but
And
it
you get
was
to
nice to
play
see
as
it
the
announced.
king.
Exactly. I can't wait to play as the King of Cosmos. Um, Moving on from that though, Sea of Stars got a August release date and a demo available now. I know a lot of people are excited for this one. Wow, nothing. Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It
Man, not a big
looks like
RPG
Chrono.
guy, I see. That's fair.
I am, but like I don't really have time, so I pick and choose my battles.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but it kind of looks like Chrono Trigger a little bit.
A little bit. Omega Strikers, another game I don't remember.
The air hockey
Oh,
game.
oh, that
Oh
one.
wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
The free to play air hockey, like the one that looks like a Mario Party minigame that's free to play,
Yeah.
but for some reason already available for pre order.
Hmm.
Well, if you want that, you can have that. I don't.
Hmm.
That looks
Looks
very
cool.
mediocre. I'm not. It looks fridge. It's free to play, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly, but it looks very shallow.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a less polished, less exciting Windjammers. But the Etrian Odyssey games, the first at least three of them are getting remastered on Switch.
Not the trilogy I want on Switch, but sure, go off.
Yeah. I mean, I heard about these all the time during the 3DS era, so I know they've got their fan base. It's not me.
Lots of 3DS GameCube, like, was this second? No, there's another 3DS game in here, right?
You might be thinking of Fantasy Life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of Wii, GameCube, and 3DS love.
as it deserves. Um, Next we finally got a new release date for Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, and it's
This
oh,
this this was
oh god.
ballsy. I can tell you that right now. I don't know what else they've added since then because the game was done. Like they shipped it. So
Yep.
the fact that they had the audacity to come out here and first of all talk about it again and not shadow drop it and
They shadow dropped
hell
the
even
wrong game.
release it in February. They
Yeah.
said have it in April.
They
3
literally were
months
like,
from now, what do you, or two
yeah,
months from now, what are you doing?
yeah, I don't get it. It's like you delay the game for a whole year, and everyone just knows it's sitting there on a shelf.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's
I
whatever.
I this game I don't it just sucks because Way Forward is a great studio and they've just been getting shit on like
Yep.
multiple times. Bakugan, Shantae, Advance like I believe well Shantae 5 because it released on Apple Arcade, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get you.
know. Nintendo is fumbling with these studios. Like they bought Next Level, and you're like, wow, good on you, Nintendo. Actually, a good, smart move of you. Luigi's Mansion 3, and then fucking Strikers, which fucking pissed in the water. And I don't know
Yeah.
what Next Level is gonna do now because they're probably in shock. Uh, do we even
No,
want to
the
talk
game's
about Alpha Dream?
the game is the best-selling Mario Soccer game in the series almost. They're fine. They're gonna be fine.
And then Alpha
Um,
Dream too. Like it's just they're
yeah.
fumbling with these two second party studios. Like, what are you doing?
I don't with Alpha Dream, I don't know if it was Nintendo's fault or their own ideas just to remaster so many Mario and Luigi games that late in the 3DS's life, but it was not the right one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
But
Superstar Saga was a great idea, but we didn't need Bowser. As much as I loved it, we didn't need Bowser's Inside Story.
I didn't pick it up, and it was one of the worst selling Mario games ever, to my knowledge. So
Yeah, I don't know.
just goes to show.
I'm pretty sure those are not the only three. We can talk about Retro too. They,
Oh
they,
yeah,
they don't know what they're doing with these second party studios.
I they were very scared of the the war across the world, and for some reason they had to delay it a whole year. I don't know. I think I'm happy with what we did get Shadow Drop, but I think this probably should have been it.
I just wonder about sales. Like,
It's it'll get the niche audience, but the series is dead. They might go back to it in 10, 15 years. This is not like paving the way for another new Advance Wars though.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just sucks. This is like one of Nintendo's classic series, Famicom Wars. It's just
I mean, they have Fire Emblem now, so I don't think they really care that this little subgenre is not getting fulfilled because if you want a strategy RPG, go play Fire Emblem. Is they're going to be their mindset.
yeah.
It sucks, but
All
what are you
right,
gonna do?
guys, let's bring back Excite Bike. Uh,
Oh yeah, I don't know what
balloon
you can do with
fight,
Excitebike.
balloon trip.
Yes, please. Uh, Anyways, moving on to a game they made a spotlight, which I don't think needed to be, but We're seeing Magolor's epilogue in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, which you can only access after beating the main game. It looks fine.
Looks
Like, I'm
cool.
happy there's new content in the game, but I'm not super excited for it.
You're not excited for the game or the
The
the new?
the extra campaign. I'm gonna pick up the game day one. I might play Prime
So
first, but
I've never played. I've never played any Kirby game, but well, I played obviously Forgotten Land, but
yeah,
um, so I'm definitely gonna check any new Kirby game. Wow, any new Kirby game I'm willing to check out. But I'm really interested in the Kirby lore because it runs deep. So I'm really interested in
Hmm.
what this adds, especially with what Star Allies brought to the table. So
yeah. But yeah, that comes out in a couple weeks on February 24th,
oh yeah,
and
what the
they're
huge missed opportunity? Why didn't they call it the Megalock?
why do I like that so much? I'd say this is probably one of the bigger heavy hitters of the direct. We're finally getting Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games
Yeah,
on the
woo!
Switch, and you can play them right now. I think
Yeah.
the Game Boy launched with 9 games, the Game Boy Advance launched with 6, so light but not horrible.
Where's my Game Boy Joy-Con?
Who cares? We can play Minish Cap on the Switch now.
Who
It's another
cares about
Zelda game I
Minish
can.
Camp?
Everyone should care about Minish Cap.
It's Mario and Luigi time, baby. No, no, sorry.
No, that's a good one though.
Kudorin.
Honestly, I can't wait to play that.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
No, but we got first of all a weird selection of games across the board. We got
Yeah, especially on the Game Boy side.
yeah. Kudorin. Mario and Luigi. Oh, on the Game Boy side, was it Gargoyle's Quest, which is
Yeah.
in the Ghosts and Goblins series. Um, some nightmare horror game.
Yep.
Mario Land 2 and Wario Land 3.
Good
Um,
choices.
good choices, but Mario Land 1, Wario Land 1. Uh, what's really weird is that people are going to get whiplash when because pretty much every Wario Land game is different. Um,
Yeah.
uh, what else? Mario Advance 4. Like, I understand, I guess,
Yeah.
I understand, the marketing value, but why couldn't you just do all of them, at that point? Or hell, even
So
Deluxe.
they can trickle them in now.
Yeah, but they didn't even show the other advanced games or Pokemon at all.
No. That's
But,
weird. Like, I mean, in the future you're getting the Pokemon trading card game. So that's something.
yeah, Pokemon was a big question mark there, in general. But, and again, like I said, I understand why, because there's value with the e-reader levels in Mario Advance 4, but why couldn't you just do all of them? I don't understand.
Yeah. But all those games are available now. If you have a
The whole
base
6 games.
If you have a base Nintendo Online, you can play the Game Boy games. If you have the expansion pass, you can get those as well as the Game Boy Advance games. Go crazy, play Minish Cap.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. You also get filters for the Game Boy games.
yes.
You can play them in Game Boy Pocket, and color variants as well as the classic green. Um,
Mm.
you can also turn off the controls, which is something big that nobody knew about. If you go into the settings, at the very bottom of the screen, there's this black bar that shows the emulation controls, like the suspend point and the pause. You can get rid of that. You can turn that off. Which I don't
Wow,
know if is
nice.
in the other ones, but and then for some
Mm.
reason you can make the screen smaller, which I don't know why that would help you, but it's a filter option for some reason.
Go crazy. So, moving on. In Jeff Grubb We Trust, Metroid Prime Remastered finally happened.
Mm-hmm.
Which means we're one step closer to my Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports.
And for me, this game isn't out yet, because it's not
Yeah.
physical for
Yeah,
some
I'm
reason.
holding off for it too, but the reviews have been starting to come out for it today. It's right now hanging out like at a 94, 95 on Metacritic. It's reviewing very well. And I'm kind of surprised because this looks like it's the best remaster that Nintendo's maybe ever done, at least in the Switch era, and they kind of just threw it out there.
Yeah, and also, well, everything else looks good except for Samus, but I digress. I don't know if you've seen her face reveal model.
I haven't, no.
Ugh.
Oh no.
It's like Xenoblade on the Wii level type.
But yeah, so from what I've heard, the game plays fantastically. It's only $40, which
Yeah,
I'm
which
I'm genuinely shocked
which
about.
is surprising for multiple reasons, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Number one, usually Nintendo games are a standard $60, no matter what it is. If it's Pokemon, a remaster, a port, doesn't matter what it
Yep.
is. It's usually the standard $60. Skyward Sword HD, A Link's Awakening. Um, but another game decides to go all out. But we'll talk about that later.
But yeah, this is the one new game Nintendo revealed. It's coming out 2 days before Kirby physically, so and that does make me believe that this was meant to come out last year. I do believe that, and it got pushed for one reason or another. They probably just decided that their lineup is fine without the extra game, so they just pushed it out to this year.
And you have to
Just
realize there wasn't a holiday title last year, so
yeah,
this
not
was
from
probably
Nintendo.
it. So
Yeah. I think well no, I think it was originally Tears of the Kingdom. That got delayed. This was probably their maybe their like October release, but they said, "Hey, let's give October to third parties and just kind of let Pokemon run the show for the holiday." And it worked well for them.
and the same probably could be said about Game Boy Online as well.
I agree. But moving on, Master Detectives Archives Rain Code. I don't know nothing about this.
Danganronpa,
Yeah.
you
Um,
can
just
hear now.
kind of rapid fire these next couple. Bat and Kaitos 1 and 2 are getting remastered.
This was big for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
I never
not
played
you
the series.
because you're a Game Boy boy or a GameCube boy.
I was a GameCube boy, but I was also a PS2 boy at the time, so I've really only
Mm,
played like the first party Nintendo stuff. I really didn't delve into
you traitor.
third parties and stuff like that.
Actually, I totally forgot about this. In
Hmm.
Game Boy Advance Online, some games allow for Rumble. If you don't know, back in the day, you could plug your Game Boy Advance games into GameCubes, and it
Hmm.
will allow for Rumble functionality. If you turn on
Nice.
Rumble in NSO, it will rumble, which means which
Nice.
means GBA games that have Rumble compatibility will be able to rumble with the controller that you have, which is probably the reason why they're able to add Kirby Tilt and Tumble so easily because they can just port
Yeah.
the motion controls. Which means that I
Makes
don't know if it'll
sense.
be accurate, because the original game was pretty bad, but I wonder if they can improve the accuracy with the new gyro controls, which could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. Um, so here comes the level 5 blowout, I like to call it.
Yeah,
We're getting a new Fantasy Life, which
never played it.
I, I played a little bit of it on 3DS. I didn't get super into it, but I didn't have time to play it really. But
Yeah,
I know it was a fan favorite on the 3DS, and we're getting a new one this year, and it basically looks like a more action-heavy version of Animal Crossing. It's the best way I can describe
it
it.
looks like Animal Crossing with a story.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Like you can change your class whenever you want. There's like um I'm assuming like a woodsmith, like a blacksmith. You can be a chef. There's like just a few of them, but it's a fun game. I'm not gonna try to pick it up, assuming it comes out when it's not super busy with Nintendo releases, but we'll see. And I think the one that got more people hyped than I expected was a new Professor Layton game.
Okay, this is so funny because I don't have any personal connection to Layton, but I know it's a big
Mhm.
deal to people. But obviously, like the only like Layton, anything I know about Layton is literally just because of the crossover that he had with
Mhm.
Phoenix Wright. I didn't play that game, but I've heard of it. That's the only way I've
Yeah,
heard of Layton. And also, was there like a mobile game
there
or
might have been.
I think it was like Professor Layton Jr. or maybe his daughter. I can't remember.
There was a
Um,
spin-off with like I think her name was like Catriel. Like I think it was mobile and then it came to Switch or something like that.
okay, well, anyway, that's a side point. Everyone's reaction was the same. Oh my god, is this near? Layton! And then immediately starts
No,
crying.
if you saw Roger Base's reaction, he went crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like
just
he lost it.
at least two or three people were like, "What is this? Is this near?" And as soon as they saw the top hat, they started crying. But Level 5 knew what they were doing, or Nintendo knew what they were doing with that trailer. They're
So
like an old friend is coming home. Like, what the?
so with that cold open, I was thinking it was gonna be a Nintendo announcement, and then the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Are they making a new code name Steam?" And then I was like, "Oh, thank God, it's Leighton."
But no, they definitely knew what they were doing. Like,
Oh
with
yeah.
the suspense, it's just like he turns around and he's like, I I got some chills from that. I don't know the
Well,
guy, but like, it's just
I I think it was like kind of expected that we wouldn't be getting any more Leighton games because I believe the man who created like most of the puzzles passed away a little while ago.
oh yeah.
So I think kind of everyone just assumed that the Leighton series wasn't going to come back.
And it
So
seemed like it was a pretty big deal to a lot of people.
yeah, I'm definitely going to pick it up. I played a couple of the Leighton games back on the DS and they were a good time.
A lot of people thought that was it too, because that was around the 40-minute mark. Like that was the
Yeah,
last
no, they were.
announcement.
I was thinking of, like I was in a live chat with one of my friends at the time, and we were like, okay, they've got like 5 minutes left. They're not gonna show Mario Kart. They're gonna like just finish off this Leighton reveal and go straight into Zelda. No.
They went Mario Kart,
Uh,
Sizzle Reel, and Zelda.
Mario Kart. So we knew that Yoshi's Island track was data mined in Mario Kart Tour for a long time. So we
Yes.
kind of assumed it was coming. I didn't think it'd look as good as it does.
Oh my god. Yeah. So when I thought of like, I thought it was gonna be like Yoshi's Island, like just like a subtle reference to Yoshi's Island, but the art style, everything. So not only was that a surprise, we also got something else.
Birdo, the bird.
I called it. I told you, and you said it wouldn't happen.
Look, yes, they were adding stuff each wave. I was not in a position that I'm like, yeah, they're gonna announce like characters. And if they did, it was gonna be a separate pass. But I was
Yeah.
like, you're already halfway through the DLC. Why would you release characters?
So
But
here's the
oh, go
weird
ahead.
thing too. In a post interview or something article,
Press release.
yeah. They said there will be 11 more characters coming by the end of the
You're gonna have to show me that source because last I've heard, we know Birdo was the only one coming in Wave 4. That was
yes.
confirmed by Nintendo Europe, and then it just said more characters, like plural, in future waves. So if you can show me that, I will be happy. But
It
I
said
have not heard I have not heard a definite number.
unless they just misread it, they as far as I've heard, 11 more returning characters will be coming by the end of the past.
If that's true, I am so happy because I'm only expecting 7, so it'd be one complete row.
Yeah, I know it's a weird number, but I don't know why they would have said that anyway. So
Well, we'll see. But I'm hoping we see Diddy. I'm hoping we see Funky. I want to see Nabbit be brought from tour. Pauline would be really cool.
I just wonder
Uh,
if Nabbit counts.
well,
I
that's
was
the thing. That's where it gets risky because yes, it is past installments of the Mario Kart series. But when they announced the DLC, they said basically the same thing and showed tour.
yeah. So
So
I played it safe in my predictions. I just put P. Diddy, Funky, and Paratroopa. But technically we could get Pauline because she's in everything. King Bob
Yeah.
Bomb because he's also weirdly been in everything recently. Dixie and Nabbit. Um,
I
but
want Nabbit.
but honestly, the characters I really want are Petey, Funky, Pauline, and Kamek and Nabbit.
So I made a predictions on my Twitter like after the direct, and I went based on, let's say we're getting 7 characters, so we got 6 left with Birdo. I want PD Piranha because I think it's gonna make sense with that other track that came to tour recently. Um, Diddy and Funky. If we could get Dixie, that'd be cool. Pete, not PD Piranha. Kamek, and then like Nabbit.
Yeah.
So that'd be a cool lineup.
Yeah. I think for sure we're getting Kamek. Well, that's a 100% lock in because he was supposed to be an 8 and
Yeah.
64, so
Yeah.
and then we can all hope for Funky, obviously.
I think he'll get in. I think he'll be like the Wave 6 edition that comes with Wii Rainbow Road.
Yeah, I think that'll make sense.
It makes sense. I mean, there's also a DK course that was kind of rumored in tour that kind of everyone kind of disregarded because we have too many DK tracks in 8, but it might actually happen.
And also, when you were questioning the last wave having 3 new courses, it's kind of adding
I think
up
it's
now.
At this point I'm like, you know what? I'm more leaning into we got 2 new tour tracks essentially this week alone.
And I know we were kind of talking speculation, but Birdo's coming with like a ton of colors. You know, I don't really jive too much with Birdo, but it's cool that she's back. But that stage is fucking beautiful.
I just hate how much they tease us. I wanted to see the Double Dash box art is the first time we've seen it in a Mario Kart trailer since the beginning, and it's for frickin' Birdo and not a course.
But no,
I know we're getting 4 Double Dash tracks, but show me the damn Double Dash tracks.
Yeah, but no, that track.
It looks gorgeous. It actually looks well made.
Yeah, it looks like Yoshi's Island, but I'm like, it's one question is like, so why are they doing this? Are they cross promoting? Maybe
who knows?
That's the 2D Mario game we're getting is Yoshi's New Island 2.
We haven't heard from Good Feel in 3 or 4 years, so if they're working on something with Nintendo,
maybe.
Never know.
But no, I can. They nail the Yoshi's Island aesthetic. It kind of looks
it
like
looks beautiful.
It looks like they just made a track out of the world map from the original game. And
Literally, that's basically what they did.
The music, and the cloud. Oh, the cloud looks so good.
It does.
Whoa,
Also, you can see Poochie. You can see Poochie by the starting line, and he looks really cute.
Yeah. What if they made a 3D Yoshi's Island game?
Oh yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It
it
looks too beautiful. I want to walk around.
All right, we're gonna be talking about this one track forever if I don't move on. So
we'll talk about.
We're moving on. We're moving on to the sizzle reel. I'm just gonna list off the games. If we have any comments about any of them, we can say them after. Minecraft Legends comes out in April. Blanc comes out this month in February. I think it's this next week. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection comes out in April. Have a Nice Death is out in March. WBSC eBaseball Power Pros is out now. Disney Dreamlight Valley is getting a new update, I think, in April. Tales of Symphonia Remastered comes out next week. I don't have any comments for any of these. How about you?
Speaking of no comment, I retweeted your tweet about Minecraft Legends and you didn't respond. He's lying.
Which one? Oh, I'm picking it up day 1.
You don't care about Minecraft. There's no way you're playing that game.
I literally went through a good 5-10 hours of Minecraft Dungeons last year. I care about Minecraft. That is, what is that?
A spin-off?
Exactly. I care about the spin-offs.
It's just like, yeah, I like Persona. What game did you play? Persona Q. Uh,
I played Persona and Smash.
yeah, it's like I'm just not.
Uh,
I don't know what this game is. I'm still confused. Just not interested. But I'm glad that other game developers are adding Minecraft into their games. We got Steven Smash. We got Knackle Stackle in Pokemon. And soon to come is Tears of the
yeah,
Kingdom.
yeah. Oh my God, that trailer for Tears of the Kingdom showed me nothing and everything at the same time.
Some people are calling it a gameplay trailer. This is not a gameplay trailer.
There was more gameplay than the last trailer.
More gameplay, but more questions than answers because we didn't.
But no, there's so many. I've looked to so many about like just let me geek out for a second. I've seen so many analysis. There's like a three-headed dragon that people think is Gleeok on the bridge of Hylia. There's a new version of the Redeads. There's this new flying enemy that can like carry bokoblins across the map. There's
Yeah,
so many cave entrances, and you see so many undergrounds. That was one of my top 5 predictions. You should check out that video. Um, we hear Ganon talk.
yeah. Okay, so if we shall break it down,
Yes.
um, so we start off with the Blood Moon, which it looks like it has a different, like a different. It's gonna be working differently, I think, or
I think it's literally Ganondorf is taking control of it and now like actually using it for destruction more than like just trying to slip more enemies out in the world like Breath of the Wild did.
there's no way that there's been a single Zelda game where Ganondorf literally said, "Fuck you, I'm killing all of you," literally.
Literally, I know. I'm like,
I think it's
I,
always
I,
been that fantasy, like, "Oh, I'm gonna take over the world," not kill everybody.
yeah. I mean, I think the closest we got was Twilight Princess when he literally tried to sword fight Link to the death.
And even that's like just noble fantasy. Like,
Exactly.
okay, god damn, it's like we thought dusty old Ganondorf was scary. Like it's getting darker and darker with every trailer.
But no, here's my thing with this game. And I love it and I hate it too. I know there's a lot of people frustrated that we aren't seeing a ton, that we haven't had that like big Switch presentation trailer we got for Breath of the Wild. The game doesn't need it. The game looks fantastic. We don't need to know like the story. We don't need to know like what we're doing. They can be vague because we
It's
know what kind of game we're getting into.
it's also a little strange because that beginning part where Link is like looking out is what I assume is the Temple of Time, like from the beginning of Breath of the Wild.
Maybe.
It just looks like a clip that they took from Breath of the Wild. It really does. It's so weird.
But no, it's like they're showing what I think is plenty. The game is out in basically 92, 93 days from the day of this recording. They don't need to show much. Like I don't think we're going to get a dedicated direct. We'll get some previews probably late March, early April, and then we'll just ride along until release and everyone will be happy paying $70 for it.
Speaking of tonal change with this game, um, so Zelda says, "I'm not sure if you can beat the, or I'm not sure
Yep.
if you can do it." That shit gave me chills.
I
Like
know.
usually it's like there's a little bit of like weariness in her voice, but it's destiny, right? Like
Yeah.
Link will always win over evil. Light always wins. Like there's never really like absolute certainty that you cannot do this. Zelda straight
Yeah.
up says, "I don't think you can do this, bro." Like in what Zelda game do you hear that? It's just like what?
I know people were speculating that like person that was in the sky was like Zelda. I think it's Hylia. I think
Mm.
that's who she's I don't think that's who she's talking to at the end of the trailer when she's like, please lend him your strength. I think that's the blue arm that was kind of like locking Ganondorf into where he was.
Mm.
But who knows?
There's
I
also
I do
the fact that I'm pretty sure she dies
If
Um,
she dies, my jaw will be on the floor because holy
I
crap, they have the audacity to do it.
I think what's gonna happen is that she's gonna die and she's gonna become like your Navi type character, and like
No.
go in your arm, and that might
What
happen.
I what I think is gonna happen is she's gonna die, and then your like main goal of the game, obviously besides restoring the Master Sword and defeating Ganondorf, is like getting the Tears of the Kingdom or whatever those things are on like his vessel on his side to revive her. I don't know how logical that makes sense because like you hear so much voice clips of Zelda that can't be from like the first 5-10 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
So I guess we'll see, but come on, she has to die, right?
yeah. There's also that other. Um, First of all, side note, really funny. It seems like they don't. They're just scared to show us the music in this game, or maybe there just isn't that much music like Breath of the Wild.
We've heard a good bit of music. I think what we've heard,
Well, no, no,
especially in
no,
this
no, no.
trailer, was fantastic.
I'm making a joke. It,
Oh, okay.
pretty much every single trailer, Link jumps off a cliff and they play the same
Oh,
song.
yeah.
It's just so funny to me because it's just like this
No, that's
evil,
fair.
like crazy music, and then all of a sudden, do 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 do. I don't know why it's so funny to me.
Like, it's if that's not like its theme song, I'm gonna crack
And
up
it's
because I've heard
also
that
it's
song
like
more than anything.
it's almost a literal musical sequel to Breath of the Wild's theme. When I was editing your
Yeah,
video, I downloaded both the original Breath of the Wild theme and the Tears of the Kingdom theme that I was using for our previous videos. They're almost near identical, except
yeah,
they're like musical sequels to each other. It's quite
yeah.
interesting, and also the remake or the reverse music at the end there. Anyway, back to storytelling.
We do have to bring up though that the side like the secondary name for this game is Link and Zelda Nuts and Bolts, right?
Oh yeah, that too. Um,
Like cars.
yeah, I think that's a cool mechanic. I think it's a nice expansion of
The Master
the
Cycle.
no the abilities from the Sheikah Slate
Oh
ability,
yes.
because it's like, okay, so how do you make this a sequel? You got bombs. What are you gonna do? Make them bigger? Like I don't.
Yeah.
So I think adding like functionality to you know pulling things out of the river and utilizing those things, maybe like utilizing more of your environment to explore your environment is gonna be quite
Mhm.
interesting. Um, One thing that's great about Minecraft is that back in the day, the meta was to use horses, right? And as
Yeah.
time went on, they added updates with the elytra and things like that, so you can fly around in your world. It's much faster. Later on, people discovered glitches and quirks with the game where you can, zoom across ice or whatever. I think that Tears of the Kingdom is doing a similar thing where um, now the world might be a little bit bigger than Breath of the Wild, especially vertically. So how are you going to get
Yeah.
there? Well, maybe if we utilize the Shiga technology, you can use the magnesis and whatever the goop is and put things together and kind of create a new way to travel across the world other than
Yeah.
horses and master cycle. And
Well, we know the slower way of getting up there because there's certain ways that you can like fly up and like through the ground to get to the certain islands. You can also reverse time with the falling pieces of the sky.
Mhm.
But the quicker way is going to be building one of these mechanisms to get around. It makes
That
sense.
also begs the question. I'm wondering because we obviously see the two versions of Link, right? And I don't know. I don't think that's just cosmetic. I think it makes obviously we see those like twisty things that will push you up to the sky, but is that a loading zone? Do you think that the sky will be open to you at all times, or maybe it's two
Yes.
open worlds?
It
Um,
might not like everything might not be open at all times, but I really do think it's going to be. I don't think it's like a loading zone because we see Link like just doing a skydive from so high up and the surface just loads efficiently.
so maybe
I don't
then like this weird long hair version of Link is some sort of past reality that you experience like after each dungeon you'll see like a micro story of this other
That'd be
Link.
cool.
I don't, because I'm
We
still wondering about that, because we see multiple scenes of this weird Link exploring the sky, and now with this
yeah.
trailer we see the the Breath of the Wild Link exploring the sky as well. So
Yeah.
at first
I'm
they made it pretty clear that this other version of Link was specifically exploring the sky, but now we see the regular Link exploring the sky too. So
It's a good theory. It's one we've had for a couple of years, basically since that E3 trailer back in 2021 that revealed the Sky Islands. I'm not willing to back it completely, but I do think there's a lot of logic in it, and I wouldn't count it out. But
here's another theory too. Um, so the games, a lot of Nintendo games with Ouroboros as their iconography.
yeah,
So they said that Tears of the Kingdom was a spoiler, which I'm still not 100% sure of, but I saw a theory by Point Crow that, especially about the Ouroboros, is that in Skyward Sword, what's his demise says that I will curse you in a
yep,
cycle of torment. And
yep,
so, you know, uh, I wonder if this is going to end in travesty, something that they couldn't
it's
dare to do in Hyrule Warriors. Um, I wonder if that this is not only like the last game in the timeline, but also the first game in the timeline, to the point where, because of the Ouroboros, it basically says the timeline basically resets. Like we have the Sky Islands and um, uh, the lore of Skyward Sword says that there was a great calamity that struck the earth, and so Hylia sent the people to the sky,
yeah.
and it sounds like the story of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So that's an interesting theory as well.
I wouldn't completely say that's not like possible because it is a possibility, but I think there's no way this game ends with like Link and Zelda being defeated, Ganondorf winning. I think they could seal him and stuff like this could still happen or kill him, whatever they do. But I don't think that this game's credits roll with just Link failing. I don't think
Hmm.
Nintendo will ever have that kind of confidence to pull something like that.
It's just with at least the Hyrule Warriors, we kind of knew how they could do that, at least in some way, because we knew what was going to happen eventually
Yeah,
later, and that's something that you can do with a prequel. This is a completely new game, so having a tragic ending like that is much harder to pull off. And again, it's almost impossible. But with the game's darker tone, this is probably the darkest game I have seen
it
in
will be.
not just Zelda game. I mean like any game,
Oh,
like without it being a straight up horror game. We can talk about
mm,
Demon Souls and Dark Souls, but they're dark, but more um like dark medieval. They're not meant to like have like a philosophical dark tone. Not
right.
a literal dark filter with scary enemies. No,
Yeah.
this is more. This is probably like one of the darkest games that's not straight up horror that I've ever seen. So, and this is new for Zelda. This is tapping into a completely new territory. Because I mean, we've seen Majora's Mask and the perpetual death looming above you, but
Yeah.
this is a different scenario. Like shit's getting real. Like it's in the fan. So
This is the most high stakes Zelda game we've ever had from the start.
hmm and
So,
it's weird
yeah.
because Breath of the Wild ended with a good ending. Like, I just wonder how this all started and why
Well, I
it's.
mean, I think we've seen how it all starts. I think Link and Zelda are down underneath the surface for whatever reason, exploring a cave. They come across Ganondorf's corpse that obviously they didn't know was there. Somehow it gets released, which I'm assuming it was something Link and Zelda did, and then it's just wreaking havoc. So I'm assuming they kind of set that up for themselves.
Because we don't really know too much about how Ganon became Calamity Ganon, because usually how we see him is either Ganondorf or Pig
Yeah.
Ganon. So how the fuck did he turn into an entity I assume that's what they're gonna try to solve here, with the Zonai. I assume maybe like the
Yeah.
Zonai sealed Ganondorf away, and his spirit just kind of came out.
The closest thing I have to an explanation for that, and this is obviously complete speculation, me throwing shit at the wall. What if Calamity Ganon and this Ganondorf are like two different entities? So like you defeated Calamity Ganon because Calamity Ganon was like created either before or after this incarnation of Ganondorf we're seeing in this game. Because obviously he does not look like normal Ganondorf. He's very withered away, he's very skeletal. So I'm kind of wondering if they're like two different beings, and the defeat of one obviously didn't defeat the other.
Hmm.
But like this zone, either the Hylians, the Gerudo, the Zonai, they sealed Ganondorf away using this hand, and Link and Zelda do something to the hand that releases the grip they had on him,
Isn't
or
there
something
something
like
that
that.
said like every time that you defeat whatever reincarnation of Ganon, he gets stronger? Is there something like that that I've heard?
Not to my knowledge, but I wouldn't dismiss it because that
Because like
sounds like something Nintendo would do.
Skyward Sword was obviously demise, and then the spirit of demise transferred to every version because it's just like you will. He said that you will always have the next version of you will have someone to deal with, and that case was always Ganon,
Yeah,
and depending on the incarnation, the spirit of Ganon would either go into you know uh someone to summon Ganon, because I'm pretty sure like the Ganon from A Link to the Past and the original Legend of Zelda are the same Ganon. They're just they're basically reincarnated because of
yeah,
what's their the sorcerers that
the
reincarnate them.
sages.
But then there's Ganondorf, which is a basically a personified version of that
Yeah,
spirit, and then he takes over the world. But this is a much different case. It's a entity, just this evil entity. So I just don't know how Ganon was even able to harness this power, especially if Link and Zelda don't even know about this Ganon. So
which this excites me so much because up until this direct, I was very anxious to see how much of a story this was going to have. Because I mean, yeah, back when they announced the game, they did say they took inspiration from Red Dead Redemption 2, which for Breath of the Wild 1 they had Skyrim as an inspiration. So I had a feeling they were going to go more into the side of storytelling. But I think this is going to be their best story they've ever told.
yeah, I don't know too much about Red Dead's story, so
I mean, it's a Rockstar game. It's much more in depth. It's not like a Final Fantasy or crap like that. It's definitely leans more towards the GTA of it, but it does have a story.
yeah, I just feel like Rockstar performs better with their wacky shit, but
Yeah.
like if I think of like GTA or Bully or Red Dead stories, I think more like the person to person interaction, trying for the more realism, like just
Yeah.
connections between people, and the
Yeah.
the gangster, just you know, just communications there. So I just wonder if there's more characters, and
I
if that's
mean,
like if that just kind of like what I think about.
Nintendo is gonna take the core themes, not like they're not gonna copy and paste it, obviously. So like with Skyrim, you could tell they really focused on the world and how the world was like an actual character,
Yeah.
like it was in Skyrim. With Red Dead, it's still got that heavy world like design and stuff like that, but you also have a very intertwined story that's actually like the focus of the game.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of how I see it. Because like Skyrim, you can do a lot without experiencing the story. Red Dead, not so much.
Okay.
We're still waiting on like the confirmation of dungeons though, because they really did
Yeah.
not show us anything regarding that. Like I got scared. That scene where Link is using the motion controls to like tilt the platform he's gonna walk on.
Yeah.
I thought that looked like a divine beast for a second. No, it was just a sky island, so I got scared for a second.
Yeah.
But they're holding a lot to their chest, and honestly, like I said before, they can.
At least we
Moving
got
on from
Minecraft going.
yeah, I'm gonna throw this out before we get to the negative part of this news. It will get a Zelda is getting a collector's edition that comes out the same day. It's $130. It comes with a poster. It comes with a steel book. It comes with an art book, and it comes with some like objects we don't really know the significance of them yet. And we're getting an amiibo
You
of the
called it. That was one of your
a
predictions.
lot of people called it, but it was the Nintendo Live Link statue they had in last year that Link was just holding out his arm. I'm like, that was built to be an amiibo, and
Yeah.
I was right.
There you go.
All right, the one last we kind of have to end this discussion on a downer, but this has been confirmed that Tears of the Kingdom is Nintendo's first $70 game.
Okay, so I have a lot of opinions on this. So
I know you do.
let me rant here for a sec. So first of
Take
all,
the stage.
I got my first PS5, or I got my first PS5. Hold on, I got my PS5, so I got a bunch of PS5 games to start playing. None of them that I spend $70 on. First of all, because Sony doesn't make more games. You think that, oh, Nintendo having $60 all the time is a bad thing. Well, they always have their games new, sealed, and in stock. Sony doesn't do that. You can't waltz into a Target and see Spider-Man Miles Morales sealed and a new copy. For some reason, they don't make new games of older titles. They just stop making them, so you can only buy them pre-owned, which means I never spent $70 on any new games.
Right.
And I probably will eventually, but here's the problem with that. You might think, oh, it's inflation. Well, inflation, if you think about it from 1965 all the way to now, there's been inflation. It's just a lot more gradual, and then it's just, it's up and down. Inflation has always been there. But $60 has been the price point for video games since at least Nintendo era. $60 was the price
No,
point.
it has not been. There
That
were
is true.
N60 SNES games that were $90 back in the day. Wii games were $50, and then Xbox, I think it was Xbox 360 or Xbox One, they moved their price point up to 60, and then that was just the new norm, and then obviously they moved up to 70. Game
So,
prices are constantly
depending...
in flux.
So, that is not true, actually. So, the $90 games, I'm not even sure what you're talking about, but the standard for most video games, unless they called them premium or whatever, I believe since the N64 days, were $60. Your Mario 64s and your Zeldas were $60. At least since the N64 days. That was
Game
like...
prices back in the day were never consistent. Like I'm looking at an old ad from I don't know what store it was, but Killer Instinct was $87.98. Earthbound was $90. Donkey Kong Country was $79. Like I don't know if these are the launch prices, but these are very in flux. Like there's not a consistency at all. It's just looking at a Toys R Us ad, Yoshi's Island's $52, Pac-Man's $40, NBA Hang Time is 70. Like we really did not have a structured game pricing until at least N64. And
as
then
far
there was
as I knew, it was $60 for most game since N64 at the very least, and that was kind of the standard. And games were up and down around that, but $60 was kind of like the norm for most games, as far as I knew. But since then, and most Wii games that I bought were $60. So
Wii games were 50, at least here.
Here, they were 60. They were... GameStop was trying to scare people and say, oh yeah, Wii U games are going to end up being $100 when they come out. That's what they were telling people. So it's been weird, but as far as I knew, the standard was 60 or around 60. And $70 is not that absurd, at least for us, but it doesn't make any sense. A lot of people are like, oh, this is next gen, the hardware is more powerful. PC has games that are significantly less the price and run infinitely better than even PS5. So graphics are not an excuse. I can understand maybe chip shortages is the reason why that they have to charge a premium now, but a lot of people can barely, they're like $60. Well, gosh darn, that's an investment. Like $70, that's when people start questioning. Maybe I should start skipping games, especially Nintendo ones, because, with PS5 games, I'm like, okay, it's understandable, because if you buy it in a month's time, it'll probably be discounted
Yeah.
75%. That's usually what happens. Or if you're on Xbox, most of the time it's going to be on Game Pass, and
Yeah.
you can get that shit for free. And most people that are play those types of games are, most people that are PlayStation or Xbox gamers or casual gamers. They're in and out of games. So if they can buy it for cheap, they will, and if they can get rid of the game, they will. Not like us, and also not like Nintendo. So
I mean,
Nintendo,
I'm gonna cut in. Just I have to throw it out. Game prices are going up because A, inflation, B, rising development costs, and that is something you can kind of point at Nintendo and be like, why are you doing this? Games cost so much more to produce now than they did 5, 10 years ago, even just compared to a few years ago. But also, like Nintendo pointed out, raising their employees' wages. That price is going to be passed on back to us, and it's shitty, but it's how it works.
so again, like I said, understandable, but so far the reasons aren't adding up because, again, like I said, PC games are selling for far cheaper. PlayStation games, understandable, they can launch at that price. For those that want to buy it for that price, go right on ahead. But we know in a month's time they will be discounted. Or in the case of Xbox, you can get it for pretty cheap on Xbox Game Pass. We know that for a fact that Breath of the Wild is still $60 and on the shelf, packaged brand new. Tears of the Kingdom, even going into the next switch, into the next hardware, will be $70 on the shelf, packaged new, at least 3 years from now. That's the problem.
Consistent. But I mean, that's a Nintendo thing. Like that is something we've been bitching about for the better part of 10, 15 years.
And
That their
I
games do
am
not go down in value.
and I am still willing to spend $60 on a Nintendo game. I am not willing to spend $70 on a game that is not worth $70. I can argue to you all day if games are worth, or the labor is worth $70. I can argue about that all day. But this game in particular is a huge risk for Nintendo because number one, Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to a game that is on the same. First of all, you're like, welcome to next gen. We're not in next gen. First of all, this is not the Switch 2,
No, it's not.
and a game that is largely based on the same engine that is gonna be probably just as filled as content as its predecessor.
It's gonna have more content. To be fair, I'm just throwing that one in. But
That's probably not true, but it's
Eh.
it's a sequel to a game that's running on the same engine, is going to be mostly about the same. It is not a good time for Nintendo to start releasing $70 games.
They're not releasing $70 games. They're releasing $70 game. They're trying it with their biggest IP. They know people will buy it, and they're doing it to begin people to condition them when next year the Switch 2 comes out, when every game that comes out is $70. It's
And
shitty, but
here's
it's
also
gonna happen.
another thing. Not all first party PS5 games were $70 either. Your Ratchet and Clanks, your God of Wars, and your things like your Last of Us were $70, but your Sackboys, your other games were cheaper prices. Metroid Prime launching at $40 was surprising to us, but going into next gen, having Pokemon and Mario be $70 is not going to be a good thing, because people already question if they're worth $60. Like, if people were angry that Metroid Dread was $60, people are going to be annoyed that the next 2D Mario is going to be $70.
We've been hearing this constant nitpicking from all sides since next gen launched. Yes, it's going to be worse with Nintendo, but the people who are here, not just casuals, the people who are here dedicated playing these games, they're not going to be like, oh, Zelda's $10 more. I'm not going to play Zelda. I'm not going to play Pokemon. Yes, you are. You may not buy both versions of Pokemon, which is going to fuck the Pokemon company over in the long run. You're going to play Pokemon if you want to play Pokemon. It's going to fuck over the casual gamers more than anything.
I am probably, I was already skeptical about Tears of the Kingdom. I still haven't even finished Breath of the Wild.
You
I'm
haven't finished Breath of the Wild though. You are not I'm sorry, you're not the target demographic here. They're aiming for the people that have put hundreds of hours into Breath of the Wild.
and I still planned on getting it day one, but now I'm probably gonna wait until pre-order or
They
a
don't
pre-owned
care.
is
They're
available.
getting $130 out of me. They won. They don't give a shit.
It's not
I'm,
about that. I'm fine with paying $70, but one, it's not the right time, and two, the other companies that are doing the exact same thing have options for people that
they're getting
later it's gonna be
they're
cheaper.
getting they're getting the bad press out of the way now because games are not going to go down in price ever again. It's not going to happen. Next gen is not going to be a $60 price point.
No,
They're getting it out of the
I
they're getting the
understand that, but
bad press out of the way now. They're getting it out with their probably their biggest game for the next 2-3 years. I'm sorry, it's a bigger game than Mario, not sales wise,
I
but
I
content wise.
I can buy
They're
God
doing
of
this.
War for $20 at GameStop. I'm not
Then
gonna be able to
play
buy
God of
tier.
War.
I'm not gonna
That
be able to buy Tears of the Kingdom at
that's
$20.
why they're getting the bad press out now with the game they know can withstand the bad press. Could you imagine if the Switch 2, when every game is $70, the first game they launch it with is the new Mario Kart? People are gonna throw a fit, just more so than they're doing now with Zelda, because the next Mario Kart is gonna launch probably with 32 tracks, and people are gonna point at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and be like, "That was 60. Why was it launched with 48 tracks? Why was this 70?" I get what you're saying. I am in agreement with what you're saying. The problem is they know Zelda is the game to launch at $70 because they know people are going to just put their shoes in their mouths and pay it. And it's better to get it out of the way now so that their fan base is more conditioned to seeing that $70 price than, let's say, next year when they introduce their new gen lineup and the Nintendo fans are being forced to pay $70 for the next Odyssey, the next Mario Kart, Metroid Prime 4. Just it sucks, but it's the future. And
It's just
Nintendo's going to get
it's
hit
the
harder than anyone
difference.
else.
Again, the difference. Nintendo games aren't worth $70. Nintendo games aren't gonna get any cheaper. PlayStation games will, guaranteed. That's the difference.
And here's the thing. Nintendo Switch $60 games, people constantly bicker about half their games being worth that price. They're still buying them. It's not going to they will lose some more people with a $10 increase, but it's not going to be the end of the world. They're not going to keep their games at $60 just to be goodwill people. They're a corporation. They're going to follow what Microsoft and Sony are doing because they know they're so used to it now. They're going to just give in. Some people won't, and I admire them for it, but I'm not going to be the strong arm and say I'm not going to pick up Zelda at launch because of $10 extra.
I am greatly worried that this will be the start of something terrible for Nintendo, and we might have another Wii U situation next gen.
You are overreacting way too much, and you're not alone. And it's if Nintendo fucks up the next gen system, the $70 games are not going to be the problem.
It's gonna be one of many, especially if it's just the Switch 2.
I'm going to say something I know people don't want to hear. Video games are a luxury item, and I get it. $70 a game, it's not feasible for a lot of people. Neither is $60. Let's be real here. I'm being
I used
genuine.
to work a minimum wage job, and I have 4 Switches.
You don't pay $1,200 a month in rent. You don't have a car payment, to my knowledge.
I do.
You
Well, I
have
have
you
car
have more.
insurance.
That's car insurance. I have a $450 car payment plus insurance. You're young. You have the income that Nintendo wants. They want my money too, but they get less of it because I don't have much of it. I mean, I'm that's the problem. Like that's why Nintendo targets the kids because the kids either have disposable income or their parents will pay it for it. And this is just a complete aside, but I mean, most people are not like us. Most people do not have a collection of games on their shelves. They'll either buy it digitally when it's on sale, they'll wait for it, or they will sell their games online, they'll trade them into GameStop. They don't keep collections. They don't care about the monetary value of their games. They'll buy it at $70, they'll sell it to GameStop for 45 a couple months later when they finish it and get something else. I mean, it's gonna be shitty. Yeah, it's gonna be something that people point their fingers at Nintendo and kind of be like, fuck you, we don't want this. The same thing happened with Sony and Microsoft, but the benefit they had was their games are actually much more expensive to produce, and I will give you that. But Tears of the Kingdom is the only game they're pushing to $70, and I think they're wise to do that because they know nobody's going to spend $70 today on Pikmin 4. It's conditioning. It's Sony and Microsoft did it well. Nintendo,
or was that 40?
I believe it launched at 50. I think Tropical Freeze and Pikmin 4 both launched at 50. So even back then, Nintendo had their discounted games. But that's the problem. When you're the market leader in a way, you get greedy. And then it happens to every single leading system. It happened to the Xbox 360 going into the One. It happened to the PS4 going into the 5. It happened to the Wii going into the Wii U. They get greedy. They make stupid decisions. It's going to happen with the next Switch. I don't think it'll be as detrimental as the Wii U was, but you never know.
Man, this post-Iwata world is terrible.
I'm not gonna lie, I loved Iwata to death. He was not a good businessman.
He was a great
I mean,
businessman. He said,
he
hold
was
up,
very.
hold up. He said, hold up, the Wii U isn't selling well? Alright, we gotta cut your... Nah, I'm cutting my wage.
No. That's a noble businessman. That's the one that cares about their employees, and that's what we should have. But I'm talking about the greedy ones that are forcing games out, forcing what actually people want. We're not getting the casual market we're chasing for like 5 or 6 years that are abandoned us a couple years in. They're marketing to the people that actually want the systems that are staying. And I think I don't blame Iwata for this at all. I blame Nintendo as a whole, but they really lost their way most of the time Iwata was president.
Here's the weirdest thing too, right? Is that obviously we had the Blue Ocean Protocol or whatever they called it, and the Wii was a successful thing. We had great games for the casuals. We had great games for the hardcore fans. The Wii U, is still part of that Blue Ocean thing, but the only thing's good about the Wii U for those hardcore fans because no one bought the Wii U. People didn't understand what the Wii U was. Coming to the Switch, the problem with it is it lost the charm that the previous consoles had. Pretty much post GameCube, post Game Boy Advance, there was a lot of charm with the console itself, regardless of the games. We lost the charm, but we've had one of the greatest launches in Nintendo history. The Switch was a great premise. The games that came on it were amazing, and what we would say is best modern Nintendo. And then as time went on, it just got worse and worse and worse. And we got great games in between, but Nintendo has just lost its way. It is now just, I never thought of Nintendo as a greedy corporation, but now I do.
They've always been greedy. Come on, they chase the casuals. I know there was some good games in the Wii generation.
I mean, yes, they were always greedy,
look at Skyward Sword. The one new Zelda game that system got couldn't even sell to 4% of the Wii's install base.
That's not my point.
They chased the casuals and pushed the hardcore out to the point where the hardcore would not buy the Wii U.
All corporations are greedy, but as time went on, just the Switch just lost whatever it had. It just pretty much since 2019 it was just...
Switch didn't lose it. We're just constantly hearing Switch Pro, Switch this. Oh, Nintendo's filing lawsuits against the people that are for Joy-Con drift. They're being a company. They've never been our friends. They've had little figureheads like Iwata who have acted like our friends. They're not our friends.
But they're making more and more shittier decisions because, just Skyward Sword HD not even really being the emulation with Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, back in the day, they wouldn't have done this. Or...
Those are your shitty decisions. That just goes to show how, first world problem-y that is.
Well, what are we talking about here? This whole thing is first world problem. $70
No,
games.
like throw the Nintendo like lawsuits, throw the DMCA's, throw the fan games under the bus.
Well,
Don't be
during the Wii
sitting
U
there
era, we had the Nintendo
oh
Partner
no,
Program.
Nintendo's corporate greed is because Skyward Sword HD was $60 and kind of a lackluster
Oh
remaster,
my
or
God!
that they only
Let's
saw.
fucking let's torture the shit out of Game Freak and make them produce a Pokemon game every year.
They
Ooh,
don't torture the shit out of Game Freak. Game Freak does that to themselves.
no, that's
Game Freak
Pokemon
wants
Company
that.
for sure.
Game Freak wants that 3 year cycle because of the Pokemon Company, so they can have the advertisements, so they can have the manga, so they can have the
That's
TV
not Game
show, so they can
Freak.
have.
Game Freak doesn't make the manga.
And I hate to break it to you, Nintendo is not looming over Pokemon Company's head, being like, "Yeah, so we're gonna be lazy and not release anything. We need a Pokemon game out next year. You better tell your team to do it." They're not doing that. I don't think Nintendo has as much of a hold on Pokemon Company as you may think.
It's
Pokemon
just
Company is a shittier company than Nintendo. Let's be real here.
it's just like I don't know if Iwata was just like covering us over the shitty things that they were doing, but even during the Wii U era, we had the whole partner program debacle, like with the YouTube partners and all that stuff. Like there was stuff that was happening, but it wasn't as bad or as frequent. Like we aren't talking about greedy corporation things. We're talking about $70 games. We're talking about piss poor port. We're talking about art here. We're talking about performance quality. What it is now versus 5 years ago. We aren't talking about lawsuits or any of these things. We're talking about quality and art. What they used to do versus what they're doing now. We're talking about
They haven't done that in a long time. I think even before the Wii U, they haven't done that. Like, they marketed towards the casuals. They made generic ass games. They pushed shovelware towards the front. They tried to do that again with the Wii U. Nobody was having it. And that's when they started to push for these bigger games. Like, yeah, they're being a shitty company. Every company is shitty, like we said. They don't care about you. Awada did care about you, but Awada was still running a company where the bottom line is he needs to make money. I think the most noble thing that man did was lower his salary when the Wii U and 3DS were failing. He was fantastic for doing that, but it still was he needed to make money, and they had to turn that ship around, and it was too late. Day one of the Wii U was too late to turn around the Wii U. But that was just a whole fucking, like, what, 20, 30 minutes of
yeah.
rambling and arguing. It's not really that deep. We can go around and around for days about the $70 pricing of Zelda, how it'll impact. We won't know until we see the sales. Obviously, Tears of the Kingdom is not going to sell anywhere near what Breath of the Wild did. It's just not going to happen. Sequels never do on the same system.
Again, it was just surprising. I won't be able to get like I don't care enough to spend $70 on a sequel to a game I didn't buy or I didn't finish. So
And that they don't expect you to. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that didn't either finish it and don't want to play the sequel or didn't like it. That's just how sequels are. I mean, I know you would have been more likely to dive into it for $60, and I respect that, but
and it's like
Nintendo's going for the hardcore.
again, if it's for how ballsy they are to do this one in the middle or nearing the end of a current gen hardware, not even next gen, and also a sequel to a game that is one $60, and also two a sequel to the game which is already a harder sell because one you can't hop into it if you're a newcomer, and two you can't hop into it unless you finish the original game. So not only is it a sequel, which is a harder sell, but two, you're in the middle of a hardware cycle, like, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Because
I think it's got 15 to 20 million in it max, and I think that's still fantastic numbers, all things considered, but we'll see, because who knows? I mean, this is the one generation ever that a mainline Zelda has steadily outperformed the mainline Mario. That has never happened before. And Zelda's already hit with Wii U and 3D, not 3DS, Wii U and Switch sales combined almost 31 million units sold.
because at least the Switch, well, they used to, not so much anymore, but is at least being considered by the hardcore gaming sphere. Like back then, there was the hardcore Nintendo fans and the casuals. Now it's the hardcore gamer. It's general. Like people are
At
more
this point,
willing to check out the older Zeldas now because people are taking Nintendo games more seriously.
I'd even go the opposite way. Like at least for like the last year or so, I've seen the hardcore market really turn on Nintendo
Oh yeah,
because
recently
they don't
because
have
of hardware. Because
yeah,
like
because there's
only
not new
recent.
hardware. They want new hardware. But I also hear that like people are either gonna go back to their Switch to play Zelda or they're gonna pirate it. Either way, they're playing Zelda.
Yeah, like
Piracy is a whole other thing, but
I
there's a lot of interest in Zelda.
I know I mentioned Nico B a lot, but he didn't grow up on Nintendo. He played a lot of PlayStation, and he never really, you know, treated Nintendo with any respect because it just, kids company or cartoony or casual. But then when he started playing Nintendo games, he realized, how good he went back to the old Mario's with 3D All Stars. He, played the older Zelda games, and he started with his first Zelda game was Breath of the Wild, and then he started getting into the Xenoblades, which he really enjoys, and one of his games of the year. He really enjoys Xenoblade too, but the thing that he was constantly talking about over and over with his Xenoblade 3 Let's Play was, oh my god, I can't believe the Switch hardware can run this game, or oh, the game's lagging, oh, this, or during a
That's
really insane cutscene, oh, I
that's
can
a
hear
whole other
the my Switch is about to explode, like,
That's a whole other thing though. Like like the lately there's been a few Nintendo games that obviously have been pushing the Switch, like Xenoblade 3, Splatoon 3 even. You can do great things still with this hardware. I know it's dated. I know it's nothing compared to the PS5 and the new Xbox. But I'm so tired of just acting like bad ports and like certain little spots are the reason that the Switch is just crap. It's nonsense. I yes, there is games that run pretty badly as of late, but I also don't blame the developers for not putting enough time into the Switch version because obviously it takes a lot of time to dumb them down for the Switch. But if you genuinely want to do a good port, you can do a good port.
yeah. I think what's weird now is that before I was like clamoring for all these things to happen, but now now that I have a PS5, I'm pretty much only going to be playing to Nintendo games on the Switch.
And
Um,
that's fair. I don't
and I
blame you.
think that is the most reasonable thing to do. And I think that Nintendo should be thinking that way going forward, to go hard on their first party titles and have the Switch be more of a companion console, or the Switch 2 to be more of a companion console, because based on the Steam Deck, we know a chunky portable ain't gonna do shit. So, I
Well,
mean,
Nintendo's always, I would say the handhelds have always been a companion, like especially the
but a
Switch.
companion to
Like,
their mainline consoles. But
oh God, no, no, no. We're not going back to splitting the games again.
no, 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 no,
No.
no, no. I'm saying the Switch is a companion to the other consoles. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
and I think that they
I
should treat it that way as well, because then, all these other companies are going to try super hard, but you should just understand that most people are probably going to have a Switch and a PS5 now.
But the
Or,
problem is, if you don't focus on third parties, then you lose the people that only can afford one console. Like that was where the Switch really shined, especially in the early years, because they had not the best third party support, but a noticeable improvement from the last few systems.
and that was
And
great. That was great, when I only had a Switch, but now when I have a PS5, there's like, if I'm going to play Near, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to play it on the PS5. It's great that it's on the Switch. And if I didn't have a PS5, I probably would play it for the first time on the
I
Switch.
would argue that that mentality has existed since 2017. Hell, I did it back when we were still early, and I was like, fine, this game came to Switch, great, I'm going to play it on my PS4. Like, you're in the great spot now that you have multiple systems. But remember, there's people that have always had this mindset, and people that still only have the Switch.
True.
Like,
So,
you're just in a different mindset now because you have better hardware.
this has
But
gone on for too long. My voice.
yeah, I mean, a whole whopping 2 hour episode, and I think the last 40 minutes we've just completely swerved.
Yeah. Yeah, that
All
direct was
right, well,
amazing, though.
I'm gonna. This could have been his whole video, but I'm gonna wrap this up. If anyone stuck it out till the end, thank you. That was a really good discussion. The direct was great. We are kind of leaning more into DLC this year. We really didn't see anything past August, so I think a June direct is pretty likely in the cards, even if they're not showing up at E3.
Yeah, it's a weird question because we haven't really had a June direct in quite a while. Was there a June direct? No, last year was a partner showcase.
2021. Yeah, 2021 was the
Um,
last June direct. We had the partner
was
showcase
that
last
an
June.
E3 direct?
It was very end of June. It was after E3.
Okay, so again, it's a little questionable now.
Yeah.
So we might get a partner showcase, but something will definitely happen in June for sure.
Regardless, they need to show off whatever they have for the holiday, whether it just be the DLC or we get like a new Mario. They
Or
have
it's
to
like the
show it
rumors
off. And
say, there's nothing. There's just
I
nothing.
mean, not to get on another tangent, because I'm just gonna quickly just say this. When they say Zelda's the last big game, I think they mean Zelda's the last like massive like game of the year nominee kind of scale. Like you're not gonna get that with like a 2D Mario or a few remasters,
Well,
you know.
yeah, we're not. There's no more Xenoblade threes, or
No,
um,
there's no more Splatoon
there's
3s,
not
no more
even there's
Xenoblade 3s.
there's not even a Pokemon. There's gonna be Pokemon
Yeah,
DLCs.
yeah. And we're at the point where everyone's kind of wised up and realized we're not getting the next Mario Kart or the next 3D Mario until the next Switch
Yeah,
or
of
whatever they do
course they
next.
would both market and release a new Mario Kart game in the same year we're getting DLC for old Mario Kart. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I know. I've been hearing it like from certain like circles of Twitter for
There's
God
still
knows how
people
long
saying
now.
that there's gonna be a Mario Kart 9.
Not at this point, not at this point,
It's
but
like what?
even like after the DLC was revving up, they're like, "Oh, they're revving up for the Switch successor to come out holiday 2023 with a new Mario Kart." And I'm thinking, you're gonna give us a new Mario Kart potentially weeks after finishing the DLC? Okay.
I know you keep
Yeah.
mentioning too that they're working on a new Mario Kart right now too, which doesn't seem too likely. Um,
I think there's a small team working on just like polishing these stages up for the next system, and then the rest of them are. I firmly believe that Mario Kart's going to be either a launch game with the next system or launch year, but that's a topic for another day.
well, this game better be on playable on the next system for sure. This is the best
We'll have
Mario
to do a
Kart there is.
discussion down the line of like what we want to see in the next system.
Yeah. Well, that's all we talk
But
about is the next system.
I know, right? All right, but thank you guys for watching. Like I said in the past, I just recently released my top 5 hopes for Tears of the Kingdom. It's on the channel now. Give it a look. It's one of my lazier videos, but you know what? It's fun. All right, and thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys later.